Hello and welcome to The Print. I am Sumi Sukanya Dutta, and we have with us today Mr. Vikrant Shrotriya, Corporate Vice President and India Managing Director with Danish Pharma Major Novo Nordisk. The company is a maker of multiple innovative drugs in the world, particularly in the space of obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular segment, and growth disorder segments. Importantly, the company has been marketing insulin in India since 1935. Mr. Shrotriya has over 20 years of experience in the healthcare industry. And today, we start our conversation with him by drawing his attention towards a recent study which showed that burden of diabetes and obesity in India is much higher than it was previously estimated. So could you please tell us what role and opportunity do you see for Novo Nordisk in this current scenario?
Thank you very much, Sumi, for the invitation and to talk about the burden of diabetes and obesity in India. And it's not only the recent survey, but any survey which comes after every 5 years showcases us that in terms of non-communicable diseases, the burden is increasing, and so is the case with diabetes and obesity. The staggering number which we see, 100 million people are getting affected with diabetes. And there are more than 100 million who are actually just at the boundary to become diabetics. And then we have got obese population, 135 million population, which is obese. And these two together have got a profound effect when it comes to the personal life of a person, the family life, community, as well as the economic and social burden on the country. And I think it's time that we start taking care of this. If not, the acceleration, we should stop.
Yeah. So what new products are there on anvil by your company that we can see in the coming months, years, especially for, for diabetes, cardiovascular diseases, and obesity?
Novo Nordisk has been working for the last 100 years. In fact, we are now celebrating 100 years of Novo Nordisk. And in this journey of 100 years, we have had many innovations in terms of the crude insulin, which used to be there, then purified insulin, the long-acting insulin, the first generation analogs, second generation analogs. And then we have embarked into the journey in terms of GLP-1 with liraglutide, with now semaglutide, sema in oral tablets, which is also available in India. Now, these are the breakthrough innovations which has come to the soil of India. All the second generation analogs, which are also there, and then now the oral semaglutide. I'm very happy the kind of justice and the access which these products have got in India, because for example of oral sema, it not only reduces the blood sugar levels, but also helps in terms of reducing obesity for people who are having type 2 diabetes. And these are the innovations. Then the future innovations, we are talking about once a week insulin.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is ICODEC, which probably slated to be launched in the later part of 2025. We are also talking about anti-obesity medications. Of course, there is a huge demand in the world, and then we are working how fast we can also launch it in India, but it will not be soon. Somewhere in 2025 and or maybe in 26, we will see that there will be also an anti-obesity treatment for people in India.
Yeah. So Ozempic and Wegovy, semaglutide injectables, are two of the blockbuster drugs that have garnered attention worldwide in countries like US. Any plans to bring it to India anytime soon?
We do not have injectable semaglutide in India. Mm-hmm. And that is because we realize that there is a large amount of fear of taking the prick every day, or even in sometimes for people who have to take once a week. So that is the reason we launched the oral semaglutide in India. Yeah. And I'm glad that with the launch of oral semaglutide, there has been a high acceptance for these novel therapies. Nonetheless, when it comes to the obesity treatment of a higher dose of semaglutide, we are looking for once a week solution for anti-obesity, which probably in 2026 we can see that we can launch in India. I can't wait for its launch, but the demand is so huge that we are committed that once we launch, there should not be any kind of shortages. And that's the reason we are waiting for the optimum, kind of continuous supply which we can have for these medications.
So are you saying that for both Icodec and as well as this injectable semaglutide, people in India will have to wait till 2026, not before that? We can't anticipate it before that?
I think the once a week Icodec, probably there can be good chances that we will have a launch in 2025. But for anti-obesity treatment, it looks like it would be somewhere in 2026.
So, Icodec, once you launch it in other countries, India will shortly follow. What exactly is the timeline that you're looking?
We have been always launching in India quite early with the launches which has happened in the developed part of the world. Of course, it's very difficult if the product is not launched in the US and also in Europe. But I think sometime when we launch either in US and Europe, India will soon follow in the Icodec launch.
Okay. So for a country like India, where there are challenges of growing metabolism disorders and access to innovative newer drugs due to price challenges, do you think there is a balance that is possible?
I think we are one of the companies which has provided the balance in terms of therapeutic options which can be available to the population of India. On one side, we have got human insulin, which is highly affordable. In fact, it is a therapy which is much more economical than the tablet therapies which are available in India. But on the other side, we have got the latest and the best. And innovation cannot be cheap. So we have got innovations like second generation insulins. We have got, oral sema, as I talked about. We will also be launching Icodec, and I feel that in India, there is a place for all the therapies. Our commitment is that there is insulin for everybody when it is required and when they really are prescribed by the doctors. So I think this entire spectrum which is available give quite a lot of solution to the Indian population.
Yeah. Can you also share what your company is doing about the R&D, research and development segment in India, how you are, making sure that the company is doing some R&D in India as well, because the government is pushing it a big time.
I'm hugely happy with seeing in India from the pharmacy of the world, we are actually talking about innovate in India, and we took this step 2 decades ago when we started our clinical trials footprints in India, and today it's a moment of pride that we are actually leading clinical trials in India and research and development pipelines trials in India. There is hardly any trial which we are not doing in India, which we are doing globally. In fact, I have to say that after the commercial operations, the second largest department which I have got in Novo Nordisk is actually in clinical trials. We are doing close to 30 clinical trials in India, whether it is once a week insulin, whether it is anti-obesity treatment, whether it is the NASH, CVD. We are doing all the kinds of trials in India, and we hugely believe innovate in India because India has got huge capabilities and skill to deliver in research and development pipelines.
Yeah. One last question from my side. So, any new therapeutic areas where your company could venture into, particularly in the context of India, provided that you are covering a large number of metabolism disorders already?
Yeah. This organization was actually into changing diabetes, changing obesity, changing possibilities in hemophilia. But now, soon we are going to embark into some of the chronic disorders like sickle cell. The potential treatment for sickle cell, where also we would like to do trials in India. That is one area where we are embarking into. We are embarking into an area like NASH, the fatty liver. That's another possibilities. We are getting into the area of CVD. We are getting into the area of Alzheimer's. All these debilitating therapies or chronic disorders I'm glad that we have got possible solutions which are into early and the latest stages of the development. And I look forward that, like the way we have got treatment options in diabetes and in obesity and hemophilia, hopefully in some of these therapy areas we will have some effective solution for people who are getting affected.
Yeah. With this, we'll wrap up our conversation. Thank you so much for the insightful talk that you had. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Sumi. Thanks a lot.